What's up guys, Isaac Walton here for Hunting the River King, taking a look at a new action camera today. This is the Eken H8R. Now you may remember the Eken H9, a super popular, very affordable action camera. This is kind of like its big brother, just came out recently. I'm going to be taking a look at it today. A couple unique features right off the bat. Not only does it feature a LCD screen on the back, but it's got one on the front which shows you what video mode it's in. That's super helpful. I'll take a look at the design here. It's got this kind of big giant flat lens and it's a little bit thinner, so guys, sorry, this one is not exactly the same size as the old Eken H9. In fact, this one is thinner, and this new Eken H8R will not fit inside an Eken H9 box, nor is it battery compatible. Now, usually I'll go through all the features, kind of tell you all about the camera, but you know, what everyone really wants to see is how good is the footage. So with that in mind, let's dive in. We're going to be taking a look at, right now, 1080p 60 frames per second footage. The 2.7K and the 4K footage just doesn't requires Quicktime and won't allow it to be edited on my computer without it. Kind of a weird decision on the part of Eken, especially with all the security issues with Quicktime that was in the news recently. Anyway, enjoy the footage and we'll get back to you right after this. So that's footage from the Eken H8R. You'll notice the quality of the footage is okay. It's not amazing. It's pretty good. All in 1080p, 60 frames per second. A couple notes on the footage. With the initial release of this camera, the 4K was interpolated, the 2.7K was interpolated, and there was doubling up of some of the frames. Really kind of a dirty trick, not very cool. With a update, supposedly they got rid of that. I got the update, it's pretty easy to do, just follow the instructions on the Facebook page that Eken has. Don't brick your camera. However, I'm not sure if it takes away all those issues there. So disappointed, not true 4K at 30 frames per second or 2.7K, which is something that a lot of other cameras at a similar price point, $80 to $90, already have. So just quickly looking into the box here, it's got a lot of the usual accessories, but there's one accessory that really jumps out, and that comes standard with it, is a splash-proof remote. Has two buttons on it. one for taking pictures and one for taking video. Camera has to be on for it to work, but it doesn't have to be synced up or anything special like that. You simply push it, it takes a photo, push it, takes video, on, off. Works really well. You'll also notice here there's a lot of different colors this comes in. So if you're someone who wants something other than a standard black camera, you've got pink, silver, yellow, blue, a bunch of other options here. Just a quick note on the specs for this guy. Uses a Sony IMX sensor, as they mentioned here. I've actually written it down. It's an IMX H8R, which is capable. This is an image sensor capable of shooting all the way up to 12 megapixels, and the photos on this thing, which I'm going to include as well, actually look really good. That's a strong point that Eken H8R has. Very high quality photos, quite impressive. It's a SunPlus 6350 chipset, and this image sensor, the IMX H8R that I mentioned earlier, this is actually the same one that's in the SJ5000X, which is a very nice camera. Okay. Just a couple more comparisons here. Let's take a look at how it stacks up to the old Eken H9. Remember, that one also supposedly shot in 4K, but it was really slow, like 10 frames per second, not really usable. So this shoots at a true 15 interpolated up to 30, so that's a little bit better in this one, but still not the real 4K you want. Something else interesting I noticed that Eken has done here, take a look at these two cameras, okay? Neither of them says Eken on it. These are directly from Eken. The firmware and all that match up. For some reason, Eken, even though it has a very recognizable brand name, just doesn't put their brand on their cameras, which leads to confusion because there are some fakes out there. So here is the H9 right here. Here is the H8R right here. Let's look at how they stack up in terms of size. It's obvious the the H8R is definitely thinner, and the lens camera sticks out quite a bit farther, hence no compatibility with the cases, no cross compatibility. Otherwise, pretty similar features. A USB right here, micro SD card slot, button on the side, button on the top, kind of the usual standard GoPro style boxy design.
The features on the menu here, we're taking a look at the back. I'm in the 4K 30 frames per second mode, or the interpolated one. It's shown right there. This is video, you can see up top left, and this is the amount of recording I've already done. To cycle through the modes, I just hit this button on the front. Very easy, just like most action cameras. We've got our camera mode, and 12 megapixel. It shoots at true 12 megapixel, which is nice. It's not like an upscaled version. Got a burst mode here, and trying to get my camera to focus on it. Sorry guys, it really doesn't want to. It wants to focus on my hand instead. That's better. A timer mode, and then this kind of almost like a narrow angle view. I think this is supposed to be used with like a 360 sort of VR mode. Haven't really talked with anyone or seen people saying they've had success with it, and I didn't really find this useful either. Interesting to see them sort of branching out that way. Okay, so here's almost our menu. So this is a playback and a photo or a settings menu. So you go to video to look at your videos for playback, photo to look at your photos for playback. And I do need to mention there is an app available. It's called like the Easy iCam app. It's linked on all the pages that sell this thing. It's also linked on the box. There's a QR code for it. Very easy to find. Haven't tried it out myself. I used it with the Eken H9. Okay, didn't like the layout that much, but it is available. And there's settings. So let's look at the settings. So this is where the menu gets a little bit fiddly. You know, on the, I think, what was the camera I reviewed recently? The SJ M20 Plus camera. Very nice menu, not fiddly. Get up to, unfortunately, a very fiddly menu. This one also fiddly. So what I mean by fiddly is it's easy to go past the things you want to edit and then you have to scroll all the way back through over and over again. Okay, so video resolution, quickly looking at that. 1080p 60 frames per second, 1080p 30 frames per second, 4K 30 frames per second, 2.7K 30 frames per second, and 720p at 120 frames per second. To get that mode, you will need to get the most recent update. Let's go back. There's photo resolution. Just put it at 12 megapixel, okay? This shoots at 12 megapixel. You know, reason you should be lower than that on this. Looping video metering. You can adjust that center, multi, or spot. Timestamp, always turn that off right away. Exposure, you can actually adjust the exposure. I usually leave that at 0, depending on what you're shooting at. Burst photo mode, time-lapse mode. So that can be adjusted 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. A lot of options there. Continuous lapse, power frequency, language, date and time, you can set that. Sound indicator, upside down, that's helpful if you're going to be flying with drones, quadcopters, and you're going to have this thing flipped like that, so a nice option to have. Screensaver, how quickly it goes to a black screen before it actually powers off. format, reset, and version. This one you can actually see what version you have, because there's a lot of Ekens out there, so always check that. Excuse me. Make sure you actually have the right one before you get the firmware update for it. And this is actually the most recent version for this one, June 15th, 2016 is when this one was updated. And we will get out of this menu here.
Eken H8R actually that big an upgrade from the Eken H9? Is it worth getting? Is it worth paying the extra $30, $40 to get? I'll say yes and no. Yes, if you still like the Eken model, and you'd rather have higher quality photos, definitely does it. But when it comes to video, there's a little bit of improvement in the video quality, not a huge improvement, and that 4K and 2.7K, which, if you really want for the nice detail, and you have a computer that can actually edit with it, it's not really there, honestly. Especially with the interpolated and the doubling the frame rates. Come on, guys, it's just kind of sloppy. Don't do that. The update fixes some of that, but not all of it. It has some nice, unique features. I mentioned I like this little LCD kind of indicator here. The battery life's been excellent, even with the extra things that's powering on here. Went through like a whole day of recording, shooting at the beach, shooting while hiking, shooting while eating out, no problems at all. Okay, didn't run low on battery. Very nice battery. There is a lot of issues with cross-compatibility here. Sure, it's compatible with the GoPro mounting accessories. Here's its waterproof case. But if this case breaks, you got to get the exact same case for it. You can't just get a generic SJ4000 or the older Eken case. The battery itself is also proprietary. It's molded in a certain way that it won't fit in with other cameras. On the good side, the remote is included with it, so it's nice to have that as not just an additional accessory, but one that's already with it. And it works quite well. So all in all, some good things, some bad things. Not my favorite action camera right now, but certainly not one I'm just going to chuck out either. It has some good features to it. Looking forward to some of the other ones Eken has in the market. They have a knack for creating some of the really budget price cameras. Oh, I didn't mention, this has no gyros. This puts it solidly in the realm of some of the sub-gyro models. Not one you can compare with the M20 that get up to the ELE Explorer Pro camera. This is more in the range of the previous Eken H9, just quite a bit more expensive, with only a few more features to account for. Okay guys, Isaac Walden here for Hunting River King. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Like it, subscribe, check out the written review. Thanks for watching. Later.